Hello there my fellow creators. This sleek looking fella right here next to me is the Asus ProArt Studiobook 16. And this puppy is as laser focused on the creator crowd as somehow possible in a mobile device. So if you're working in any form of visual profession, such as in design, photography, videography, any sort of post-production environment, or even other fields that need a ton of computing power, a clean design and durable build quality, well, this one might be for you. Our review unit is the top-of-the-line configuration coming with Intel's flagship mobile silicon, the i9-13980HX, a whopping 64 gigs of system memory, clocking in at 5600 mega transfers a second, 4 TB of NVMe storage for all of your projects, and a 3.2K OLED refreshing at 120 Hz. Oh, and of course an RTX 4070. The ProArt brand is Asus's group of devices that are designed around the core concept of getting stuff done. And they sent over a whole lot more for us to have a look at during the course of our review. Let's start at the display side of things. This one is a small 14-inch mobile monitor that you can easily use as a secondary screen for either your tools in various creative applications or simply to have more screen real estate for whatever you're doing. It's a touch display with 100% sRGB and Rec. 709 coverage, making it a great addition for the traveling video editor. This is an excellent option for when you have to go to on-site assignments or travel somewhere for more than a few days and still need a multi-monitor setup. It's especially convenient since you can get a display signal and power from a single USB-C, making it easy to set up and integrate into a mobile setup. And by the way, I will link anything I will show you guys today in the description below. But let's circle back to this Studiobook for now. The matte black creator machine is made from aluminium on the base unit and the display lid, and a magnesium alloy for the keyboard deck. The whole thing is incredibly resistant to bends with hardly any flexing all around. The hinge is as smooth as it can be, and even the lid is insanely flex resistant. I/O options are extensive, even though placement could have been better. On the left you can find a single USB-A 3.2 Gen 2, the audio combo port, and a full-size SD card reader, with unfortunately only average transfer rates. On the right, Asus made room for another USB-A and 2 USB-Cs, with one of them being Thunderbolt 4 while the others of the 3.2 Gen 2 variety. Both support power delivery if you want to skip the 240 watt charger for a more portable setup. The HDMI 2.1 and 2.5 gigabit Ethernet have been moved to the back, and while I prefer to have the bigger connectors out of the way, I would have loved to see one of the USB-Cs back here as well, to give you a few more options to extend your setup and make for a cleaner workspace overall. While its transfer rates have been excellent throughout our testing, and if you want to show your face during your next briefing call, the 1080p webcam definitely does the trick, even though it's not the best webcam we have seen lately. As far as accessories go, you get a stylus within the box that reveals one of the very useful party tricks the Studiobook has in store for creators. In addition to being able to use the stylus on the screen directly, you can also use the 16 inches Haptic touchpad as a pen tablet. This is kind of a big deal, since if you're into digital drawing or for example into retouching, you would have needed to bring an extra tablet like this Wacom for example. While a dedicated solution will of course give you much more room to work with, having it integrated into your laptop is simply amazing for a smaller desk or while traveling, and in my testing this worked perfectly fine and I could definitely see myself using it a lot. They also sent over their ProArt mouse, which you can either connect via Bluetooth or the included wireless dongle. And it comes with the same dial functionality as the laptop and the small external screen we looked at earlier. It's a solid mouse for everyday tasks, but the clicks are on the louder side, and for some very weird reason you cannot adjust any settings in the ProArt software, but you have to download Asus's Armory Crate application, which is very odd and a little annoying. We haven't been able to find anything annoying in the maintenance department for the Studiobook though, and you got access to a pair of SODIMMs, 2 NVMe slots and the Wi-Fi card. Alright, what else? Right, inputs. While my colleague Andreas, who did the initial review on our website, feel free to check that one out by the way for much more in-depth information about the Studiobook, found the keyboard to be a little too loud in general, I must admit I really like it. Travel is decent with 1.4mm and the keys have a sort of tactile agility to them that made both work and typing longer texts a breeze for me. While all the major keys are the same size, some of you might need some time to adjust to the layout. Especially the odd placement of the arrow keys or single row enter keys may throw you off if you are not used to it. The large touchpad is excellent with very satisfying clicks, and of course the whole stylus functionality we already talked about. The Studiobook also comes with the Asus dial, and in stark contrast to the ZenBook Pro 14 that had to make do with a touch variant, this is a proper hardware dial built right into the laptop chassis. While it feels very satisfying to use, I still think you would really have to commit to using this one, to retrain yourself from using shortcuts. And even then, I'm still not entirely convinced that it would actually speed up your workflow. That said, software support in the ProArt Creator app is very extensive and gives a lot of options to tailor the dial behavior to your specific needs. Asus seems to be hellbent on making OLEDs mainstream, and I'm all for it. The 120Hz touch-enabled variant is simply amazing once more, but again, you will have to deal with some graininess due to the touch layer. It is more noticeable on brighter content, and I'm still trying to make up my mind if it bothers me personally. I think you will get used to it over some time and kind of unsee it, but if you're working on images, for example, it might not give you an accurate representation of what you are seeing. So if this is a problem for you, it really depends on your specific use case. Overall though, the display offers a lot to like, with very solid specs and great color gamut coverage. And once more, Asus reigns supreme with their pre-calibrated factory profiles for all sorts of different workflows. For some reason though, we have not been able to improve color reproduction with our manual calibration. And while factory calibration is alright with average delta E's around 2, some colors, especially reds, have still been off the mark quite a bit. Which means you would have to be very careful when using this one for color critical work. This being an OLED, PWM is still a thing, but as discussed in our ZenBook Pro 14 review, Asus implemented a very clever way of dealing with it. If you want to find out more, please also check out that video. Talking about OLEDs, as the last piece of the setup puzzle, Asus also sent over their latest reference monitor. And I have to admit, sending this one back will be very tough. If you are a creator and work on many different things and need reliable and easy to set up color reproduction, this thing will blow your mind. The 32-inch 4K OLED does not only look absolutely stunning, but the integrated calibration sensor means that you do not need any additional hard or software, since you can take care of all your calibration needs on the monitor itself, which is especially handy if you are going to use it with more than just one device. It also comes with 2 different stands and an extensive array of connectivity, making it the perfect centerpiece of your creative workstation. While it is an expensive monitor, no doubt about it, similar reference grade displays will run you a lot more. And if you are serious about color grading for both video and stills, this puppy is definitely well worth the investment. In the performance department, the Studiobook has a lot to offer, and especially the i9-13980HX impressed us with its raw performance results. Under sustained load, the 16-incher is able to provide up to 130 watts with excellent results in both single and multi-core loads. And even compared to full-fledged gaming notebooks with much bigger chassis, the Studiobook can hold its own, which is very good news if you are working in applications that favor the CPU, like the majority of Adobe's Creative Suite, for example. Performance tuning, especially the corresponding fan curves, are oddly configured though, but I will go into more detail when we talk about our noise samples later in the video. Overall system performance from our subjective impression and benchmarks is very snappy, which it should be considering the fast core components. The massive SSD is offering almost class-leading transfer rates as well, and in stark contrast to some competing devices, can keep them up without any throttling no matter how hard we hit it. In the GPU department, the RTX 4070 performs on par with other variants of Nvidia's mid-range mobile silicon. While the 4070 is a great fit for the insanely fast CPU, I personally would have loved to see a 4080 SKU for workflows that more heavily rely on GPU acceleration. Not that the Studiobook can deliver, with Blender results keeping up with last year's RTX 3080 Ti, and for our videos in Resolve 18, timeline performance and export times have been pretty decent as well. On the subject of the RTX 4070, I'm sure all of you have noticed this particular green sticker, so let me tell you a little bit more about it from today's sponsor. The Studiobook is a prime example for an NVIDIA Studio validated notebook, and they sponsored this section of the video together with our German retail partner notebooksbilliger, so we can tell you more about what this sticker on a laptop actually means. It's not only that the laptop you have your eyes on has an NVIDIA GPU beating at its heart and comes preloaded with their studio drivers for stable performance across a wide variety of applications and tools, but it also tells you something about the machine as a whole. For manufacturers to get their systems validated, there's quite a list of criteria to meet that will ensure that you as a creator get a reliable tool for your individual workflows. It does not matter if you only just begin your journey by studying a creative profession, or if you finally want to step up your game for your first freelancing assignment, or if you're a full-time pro that needs a reliable notebook on the go. At the very heart of the Studio program is of course the GPU, and with the latest RTX 4000 mobile cards, you can access GPU acceleration and support starting with the RTX 4050 all the way to the flagship behemoth, the RTX 4090. Of course, a fast GPU needs an equally fast CPU, as is demonstrated by the Studiobook itself, and all NVIDIA Studio systems come with the latest and greatest from both Intel and AMD. All the performance in the world isn't doing you any good without a great display to show what you're working on. With at least QHD or even 4K resolution in some machines, wider than average color gamuts and factory calibration, you are ready to go for your next creative project. If you want to find out more about all of this or want to get shopping right away, I put links to both the NVIDIA Studio website as well as to notebooksbilliger's selection of available studio notebooks in the description below. Before we get to fan noise and battery life, let's have a quick look at gaming performance. In our 1080p rating, the 16-incher can once more hold its own against proper full-time gamers. And therefore, this one is once again a great option if you want to unwind after a long day in the office with some video games. In addition to our rating, I also tested a few more games for you guys in 1080p and QHD. And as always, while you enjoy our benchmark results, please consider liking this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot to us. Fan noise is actually one of our only major gripes with the Studiobook. While it is mostly silent during low load scenarios, as soon as you do anything heavier that stresses the CPU or GPU, the fans turn on rather audibly. For some strange reason, Asus also opted to rather include a full speed mode instead of a silent mode, which would have changed the whole problem quite significantly, since a performance reduced mode with much more silent fans would definitely be something a lot of users would probably appreciate much more. We put together some noise samples for you during different scenarios and in different performance modes, so you can get a rough idea of what to expect for both fan noise and temperatures. If you want to get into more detail for both internal and external temperatures, please head over to our written review. In addition to the mediocre noise performance, the Studiobook hardly takes the cake away from the wall either. Not only is performance reduced drastically, but only 5.5 hours in our Wi-Fi test makes the 16-incher much better suited on a desk connected to an outlet. Alright folks, it's time to wrap it up for today. As far as creator notebooks go, the Studiobook is very well suited for CPU-heavy workloads, with a fast enough graphics card to support GPU-accelerated tasks. Everything from the chassis with its pen-enabled touchpad and dial to the gorgeous OLED with its extensive customization options offer handy features that will definitely complement or sometimes even speed up your creative workloads quite considerably. The Studiobook does not come without compromises though, especially regarding fan noise and battery life. But for everyone who is looking for a subtle notebook to take on assignment or travel between remote work and the office, will find a reliable computing partner in this one. As always, I have linked everything I talked about today in the description below. And please guys, tell me what you think about dedicated creator machines in the comments below. Thanks a ton for watching. My name is Alex, you have been amazing and I cannot wait to see you all in the next one. Take care.